Alright, what's up guys? So if you join the test place right now, there is one of the worst changes in the history of Phantom Forces that I have ever seen in there right now, and if this goes live, I don't think it's going to go well at all, so I wanted to talk about that today. Oh, by the way, this is not meant to be rude toward the devs. I think the devs are doing a fantastic job lately, except for this change. So pretty much what they're doing is they're nerfing Emp sliding and Zingus sliding, and I'll get into why this is such an issue in a bit. Alright, so an Emp slide is where you hit C space, then space shift, and you get a massive speed boost. You get one speed boost while sliding, and an even bigger one when you hit jump and shift. And then Zingus sliding is where if you slide off a ledge and hit shift when you hit the ground, or shift and space, you get a huge speed boost. And both of these aspects add a ton of depth to the game. The movement system is one of the best things about Phantom Forces, and the freedom it gives you to mess around with it and be able to use things like this to get insane speed just adds a ton of depth to the game. And that's not really the problem the devs have. The problem is that they're trying to add a speed limit in the game that will send you back to the menu if you exceed it. But the problem is that Emp sliding and Zingus sliding both exceed this normally. And in a little bit, I'll get into why this solution absolutely sucks and why we shouldn't have that. And so yeah, while they're not technically removing Emp sliding, they're basically just making it completely useless. Like, now it's barely faster than slide canceling, whereas before it was basically the best way of getting around the map. So they basically just capped the speed limit of Emp slides and Zingus slides to 30 studs per second, which is horribly low. Like, go feel it in the test place, it sucks. And the problem is that speed hackers were never the problem, right? Because you can always vote kick them because they're insanely obvious. So you shouldn't be balancing the movement in Phantom Forces based on what hackers can do, because hackers are going to hack anyway. Most people don't speed hack without aim hacking, so aim hackers are still going to exist, and they're going to have removed such an important part of gameplay. So many people use Emp slides, and so many people could learn how to, and so they basically be removing a huge skill-based aspect of the game that could help a ton of people to basically do nothing. Like, alright, we have no more speed hackers. Okay, well great, there's still aim hackers that still ruin the game. Like, okay, you reduce the severity of hacking, I guess, but there's the same frequency. It doesn't change anything and just makes the game worse to play for everyone. And once again, Emp sliding is just an instant elevation of gameplay. Like, it's a skill-based mechanic that makes you faster, and it's incredibly useful for everyone of all skill levels. It is such a good and deep mechanic. Like I mentioned earlier, the depth of the movement system is fantastic. I don't want to nerf that to do nothing. But yeah, like again, it just makes you instantly better, and it makes the game more fun. Like, watch how any really good player plays, and just analyze how much movement mechanics like that contribute. And I don't want to see all that go away to not even fix the hacker problem. So we shouldn't be removing that to reduce the severity of a problem that's already so severe that it can't be fixed unless you literally have like a working, like, software detectable anti-cheat. Because at the moment, the solution is adding a speed limit that hackers are just going to use a different type of hack. Like, okay, they're not speed hacking, once again, they're just aim hacking. And it hurts so many movement mechanics and players. It just sets a bad precedent too. And I've read this stuff on the Discord. I know that the 30 stud limit is set there on purpose, and that putting it any higher would allow some speed hacks to fly. And you know, that's fine. I don't think there should be a speed limit in the first place, because that's gonna hurt people who are just good at movement. Like, okay, well, you spent a ton of time learning the depth and mastery of movement, or maybe you even found new mechanics that let you reach new heights. Well, okay, now that's useless because the devs decided to change something to stop maybe like 10 hackers. Like, dude, literally nobody's going to stop hacking because of this. They're just gonna switch to only aim hacks, which is already most hackers. Like, dude, they're the most obvious ones and easiest to kick too. Now, I'm not making a complete complaining video. This is constructive criticism, so I have some suggestions. Alright, so pretty much I think the best solution would be to have checks to see if you're moving too fast for too long. So say you're moving at 30 studs per second like they currently have. Make that have a limit of 3 to 5 seconds. That way it's too high for, like, it's too high of a speed for any regular player to get flagged for, because like, Emp slide is a small burst of speed. So instead of having just an instant speed limit that sends you back to the menu, you have like a speed limit for a certain amount of time. So like, yeah, sure, you can still Emp slide and get your 30 studs per second boost, right? Or higher than that, obviously, but you can still get that, and still kick hackers who try to fly for too long or something, right? I mean, they could just fly for less length, but I think it's a great compromise considering you could just kick them anyway. And then, what you could do is make it so that as you get faster, there's a less amount of time that you can be at that speed. So, say you get to 50 studs per second, well, make that like 2 seconds. And then say you get to 100 studs per second, make that like half a second. Because that way, it's still just long enough that anyone getting it from a glitch, like if you do like a vault glitch and get launched, you're still going to, you know, not get kicked out. Like, what if you're on a kill streak and you hit a glitch that makes you super fast all of a sudden, like one of the vault launching glitches? Well, you don't just get booted back to the menu, but it still stops hackers. Because, like, yeah, what's the point of speed hacking if you're just going to go right back to the menu if you go too long? And by having that time limit for it, it prevents instant speed glitches. Like, it allows M sliding to exist because you're not going for over 30 studs a second for 5 seconds straight. And you're not going, even if you hit some crazy movement glitch, you're not going 100 studs per second for even half a second. It's a fraction of a second that you get it. Just put it a little bit too high. That way, no legit players are ever going to get triggered, but hackers still will. And maybe there is some sort of studs per second limit that is just way too high for anything to reach. Like, I don't think Zingus sliding or anything is going to hit 100 studs per second, but I'd still keep the time requirement just to be safe, or in case you do hit a very momentary speed like that. So, like, yeah, if you want to speed hack past 100 studs per second, like, great. You could do it for half a second before you get booted back to the menu, you know? Like, it's basically useless. And then, if you want to go slower, okay, you get, like, 2 to 5 seconds, who cares, just to get vote kicked anyway. And honestly, in most scenarios, vote kick is enough, because the other solution presented is to completely get rid of really fundamental movement mechanics, and that is obviously not a good solution. Or the one I just presented, but I'm sure the devs have thought of that, and I know Phantom Force's code is spaghetti code, so if that's not possible, I understand, but again, if that's not possible, then just don't do anything about it, you know? The community can handle it, because I think most people would rather have, you know, the game mechanics that make the game so great than doing something to slightly change the hacker problem. Note I said slightly, because like I said earlier, like, it's not going to stop because of this. They're just going to aim hack anyway. The integrity of a match is already ruined the second a hacker starts hacking. Like, someone's there with an unfair advantage, the match is already ruined for the time being. Like, okay, now they're no longer speed hacking, they're still aim hacking, it still ruins the game. Like, that match is already compromised until they're vote kicked. So, unless there's a solution that can remove all hackers, then I don't see the point of even debating whether there should be a change that will affect something as fundamental as the movement system. And again, more work needs to be done on the, like, software detection side, I think, but I mean, that's kind of a given, but I'm just saying, don't do things in-game that's gonna nerf skill-based mechanics that a lot of people use if it's not going to get rid of all hackers. And even if it would, like, I'd still go for a different solution because it's affecting such a core aspect of gameplay and setting a dangerous precedent for future changes. But yeah, by the way, if you're gonna, like, I think we need to make our voices heard as a community if you do agree with me, but don't send hate to the devs. Be respectful. Like, it should be respectful constructive criticism. I just think it's important to talk about because I don't see enough people giving feedback about it. I see some people mentioning, oh yeah, M sliding is gone test place, but like, guys, you should be saying you don't want that if you don't want that, you know? But yeah, once again, I really like the devs. I think they're doing a fantastic job, especially in the past year or two. I just think that this would be one of the worst changes we've ever had. So yeah, like the video if you agree. Subscribe, you know, give feedback. Only constructive criticism toward the devs, not threats, okay? I know how this community can be.